Is it on other people, other genders, other
hands
groups?
down, it's on us.
Okay,
But
there we go.
Here's a problem with that, right? When you have the younger generation of men that are having their masculinity stripped from them because they're being taught that it's toxic, it's
Who's teaching
disrespectful
them
to
that?
women, their mothers.
And okay, and what are the men doing about that?
But again, what can they do about it?
And there
Because
we have
because
our fucking
again,
problem.
because again, you're in a system to where as black men, we're not in control of our legacies, right? We don't have access to our children like that in this society, right? We just don't. But like we're not really given.
But let's not like this is a twofold situation, right? You could say, yeah, black men aren't in their kids' lives or whatever, so women are raising these sons or whatever, right? But hold on,
Go ahead.
who's making a decision to have kids with the wrong guy? Or what guy is having kids with the wrong girl?
Well, here's the
like
thing,
this
right?
is you know what I'm saying?
Right. So let me answer that. So no child is born unless a woman wants it to be.
I get that.
Women control access to sex and procreation, not
right?
men. Right.
But we can too.
We could very well be married right now, and our wife can be pregnant. She still has the right to go ahead and do what she wants to do with that kid
Yeah, but
against our will.
we
right?
can do it too.
So, but no, men don't have parental rights in America.
Men can control whether they get a woman pregnant or not.
Well, true, right? I hear you, but again, I'm saying on both sides of the coin, right? A woman, her body, her choice. We have to look at that with both sides of the coin. It is what it is. Many men have been drugged down to the what do you call the place where they have the abortions?
Abortion clinic?
Planned
Parenthood?
Yeah, Planned Parenthood, whatever.
Yeah.
More than just
Crying, trying to stop their women from having an abortion. Nothing they can do about it, right?
Right,
It's her
right.
choice, whatever. So now, to
But
your
see,
point, but
it's-
hold on, right? To your point, and again, we're generations in this cycle. So everything we're saying is 100% true. A man has a responsibility to not, like, it's sort of like when, if you take the Iman Shumpert we were talking about last week, right? When he's going through divorce, a lot of women, well, he should have knew better, and that's the type of woman. Hold on, you can't say that because more than likely he probably was raised by a woman just like the chick he chose. He's already in that environment. Cool. So telling a man at this point in life that he needs to look at it this way, good luck with that. He is who he is at this point, right? Because he was raised in that environment, whatever. So,
But we take these isolated situations, like, okay, you mentioned Iman. We don't know I don't know his upbringing or whatever. I don't know why he chose.
he's a street guy.
Okay, like I don't know why he made his decisions, but anybody making whatever decision they are making to be with whoever or to sleep with whoever, start a family with whoever, that's on them. But we seem to sum up the generalization of this is just how it is within these communities of people or whatever. And I don't think that's the case.
So what do you think it is?
I think that when we see something like let's say a woman has a bad experience with a guy, she's dudes ain't whatever, it's like
we're talking about the protection of black men, or
Right.
Are we talking
well
It all ties in to, like,
it
the way
ties
that
in
they're
because
brought
we're
up.
saying these black men are kind of being stuck in a situation because of upbringing. He's saying being emasculated because they're being raised by women. They're
in school, right? 90% of the teachers are female. as
right.
well,
So now we're in a situation where we got groups of men who aren't, protected or not. I don't know. What have you done to say, man, you know what, I'm going to change the narrative? I know we're talking about it, but I'm saying if a cop mistreated you, got down on you on the street and you survived, did you pull up to his crib and black mask, Pooh Shiesty mask, whatever, you know what I'm saying, and get some get back?
I mean, God forbid.
Did you organize your family, your friends,
God-
all of us to
look,
go, you know what I'm saying?
Look, God forbid that somebody I'm close to gets dealt with that way from the cops. My life is forfeit because I'm getting them.
Okay.
Now we're talking about police brutality.
100%.
I'm
But
so lost in this
but no, back.
I'm
bringing it back-
following everything.
but no,
we on
but
point.
Bringing it back,
I'm not-
right? So,
I'm supposed to be the commentator here for the
Yeah,
audience.
can we get
bring
back
it back?
to-
okay, so bringing it back, right? So when
Bring it
you
back to
so when you
black
look at it
women
full
not
spectrum,
feeling protected by black men.
right? So when you bring
Circle back.
right, it's all tied in, right? So when these little boys are taught that, hey, your gender is bad, right? Your what's natural to you is bad, right? Like for you to be attracted to a female is considered disrespect, whatever the case may be, right? Like when you look at a society that celebrates every time a man strips himself of his masculinity, like what's his name, Bruce Jenner, who turned himself into a woman, got Woman of the Year.
That's
right?
crazy.
When Dwayne Wade, his son is now a girl. All of this is promoted and celebrated. little kids, the psyche, they're like, okay, I don't want to be that shit. Because every time I see a man, like whether it's an Andrew Tate or whoever talking about masculinity, look what they do to him. It's an attack, right? Like Anthony Mackie was talking about it. Like, man, we're watching the death of male masculinity in America. It's 100% true. So when you bring it at full circle, when you talk about it's not necessarily about black men not being protected, because as men we understand the sacrifice. It's about the hate and us being targeted.
You use Dwayne's son, you use Jenner, right? Those are two situations. Those are two people in a world of billions. So if somebody's being raised, you telling me that if they see these two situations or even 10 of them, then now their whole psyche is messed up?
Well, again, right?
Out of all the other influence and people that impact them in a positive way.
I use those names because people would.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
names.
People sum up whole situations based off of these isolated, incidents with celebrities or people that's in public, to say, well, this is how it is.
Well, look, we have to be honest about it, right? Like, again, we all know that there's an attack on masculinity in America. Hell, we hear women talking about it all the time. Men don't want to be men no more. Where are the men at, right? So all of this is a component of what we're talking about, right? Like, it's obvious that when you're like, so as black men, we're fighting a lot of fights on a bunch of different fronts. We're fighting the fight to be men. We're fighting the fight to be leaders. We're fighting the fights against white supremacy, right? It's a lot of different fights we have going on, right?
So do you not want to fight?
Well, you have to. It's a part of survival.
Okay.
It is what it is.
So we got that clear, right? So until we
Every
die,
day you wake up and go outside.
until we die, we're going to fight.
Yeah, hands down.
So it's just about,
So can we talk about how this circles back to not protecting black women, please?
no, black men not being
Black
protected.
men.
But no, it was never about black
Either
men not being
one.
protected. It's about black men being targeted.
A targeted attack.
So we've moved on.
No, it was
No,
never
no,
about
this is
black
all
men
tied
being
up-
protected. It was always about black men being targeted.
Targeted, yeah.
It was
But
never
you guys
about black
also
men being
said that
protected.
You didn't
Yes.
feel safe, or protected,
Blue said that.
or one of you said.
No, I don't say. I say I'm not looking for the protection.
Yeah, I don't expect to
Or
be
no one-
protected.
or no one protects the black man.
Well, no, again, I don't.
Oh,
stated
yes.
that.
That's what
Okay.
you said.
No, I didn't say
stated
that.
Oh,
black
she said
women
Are
don't get the credit for protecting black
Right.
women, which we do. And let me tell you, now we're going to talk about this because we talked about feeling protected or no one's taking up for black men. And then I brought it back to, well, black women actually do protect you guys. And I got met with the notion of like, well, that's not really what happens, right? Is that what the consensus was?
I don't see it I see it isolated, but I don't see a general consensus of that because we see a lot of, if you just look at social, you see the level of expectation of black women from black men doesn't match up with them.
Let's pause that for a second because what I saw, the examples that were given were very like specific situational situations. And like B even mentioned, there's billions of people in this world, right? So we can't isolate situations to like what we see with the isolated incident on social media. But I'm just talking about the overall predicament that black families are in, the overall predicament that black women are in this society. Yes, we do protect black men. I'm going to say that in this way. So a lot of black women are single mothers, like you mentioned yourself, right? Raising black men who then turn and say, I don't have respect for your students or whatever. They don't have respect for their mothers, right? A single black woman deals with different challenges than any other race, period. Because first she has that she's black, again, working against her. She has all the parallels of all the stigmas and stereotypes put on her before she even opens her mouth or walks through a door. She's considered uneducated, ratchet, hood, all these things that are put in front of her before she ever even gets to point B, right? So I feel like when, I'm trying to make my point, but I'm gonna make it quick. But I feel like because of that, I feel like even when a black woman is like, okay, I want to protect a black man or I want to speak out or whatever, they're almost like I don't want to say marginalized, but they're like, what's that word I'm looking for? belittled,
demeaned, yeah,
Demean.
almost,
for
right?
sure.
And I feel like when they do it, just hearing this conversation between you guys and like thinking about myself as a black woman, I'm like, damn, y'all don't really see that we do it either.
It's
And
just
that just goes back to my point of saying, well, fuck. If we can have your babies and struggle by ourselves and still get on the news and be like, yeah, but black men and y'all got to stick up for them and support a Black Man Day and still do all those things and still be looked at and say, nah, y'all don't support us. We support y'all.
Right.
Well, then fuck it then.
now I will say this, right? So again, and I've seen black women who've tried to step up and do exactly that, and I've seen other black women attack them, right? And try to destroy those other black women for being like, hey, you gotta be whatever. Felicia Rashad, perfect example, right? Great example of a black woman who's done it right? Perfect example, the gold standard of whatever, who just basically came out and said, hey, the younger generation, y'all need to dress with class or whatever. Absolutely. And black women, the younger, they trying to counsel this woman. They like, screw you and how you know, and you are old head. Just basically just trying to destroy this woman.
No. I gotta interject on that.
No,
G.
look, it's again, right? She got attacked for it. Now, to what percentage? I don't know. Whatever.
No,
Because
I'm
you're
saying.
loud doesn't mean you're the most.
Well, what I'm
Now, hold on. Let me land real quick.
just
Right?
loud.
Now, to a lot of the moms that I deal with in my sessions, I understand that they're not bad women at all, right? They've kind of been left to fend for themselves because, again, I think we're about 2 to 3 generations in the generational curses like people talking about. They were not raised to be wives. And a lot of them, we don't, like, I don't know, 90s, early millennium, right? I've been saying for like the past few years, we're no longer a race of people. Ever since the new millennium, we're not a race anymore. We just kind of look alike and we share similar situations. But a lot of those women are trying to figure out how to coexist in that situation with a man on their own. They're not bad women at all, because when you listen to what they say, when you listen to their stories, even the things that they expect from men, it's not even really extreme in most cases, right? But the problem is they don't know how. So that always leads to calamity, no matter what. And because you don't know how, like most relationships, right? They struggle. They're gonna have issues because the issues that they have, they didn't even create it. It's the upbringing, and we talk about it like people being programmed religiously, right, or whatever. So you bring this into your situation, you don't know what you're doing. Boom, it implodes, and none of us know what the fuck we're doing. So we can't really fix it. But yet, instead of people saying, you know what? Let me just sit back, self-reflect. Everybody's kind of doing this.
So
Right,
does
instead of-
majority not rule?
Yeah.
So in the instance of, you saying Felicia Rashad saying women need to dress more classy, right?
That was on the Breakfast Club, right, when she said that?
Yeah. I'm not saying she's wrong, but objectively, she's from a different generation where people dressed a certain type of way,
Okay.
and they held themselves to a different standard, versus now we don't operate on them same terms and conditions, right?
Okay.
So I'm saying for her to jump out the window and say, well, you guys are doing it this way, it's like that's not the world we live in. It was a time, high heels, men originally wore high heels. A lot of people don't even know that.
There was a time when wearing high
What
heels
culture?
would-
You saying every culture wore
Yeah,
high heels?
in our culture, in America,
Prince?
men's wore high heels. They wore
right.
wigs,
Hold
the
on.
weave, all this. This was a thing,
Sidebar. When was this?
bro. This was back in 1800s. Yeah, G.
wigs, too.
They wore wigs.
We never.
and heel.
You saying black people used to do this?
Yes,
black and white.
everybody. This was what men wore. They
All
wore high,
for all the viewers out
high
there.
heels. Hold on, high heels came from men. This is
Fine.
Hold
whatever.
on, she can look it up right now.
Yeah.
High heels came
No,
from men,
I'm pretty sure
but
it's
you can't wear high heels
But
now.
hold on, Ronnie. Why are you looking it up? I wanted Ronnie to speak on the Felicia Rashad.
No, let me finish my Felicia
No,
Rashad
'cause
thing.
she's a black woman.
We're gonna let her get in there. Let me finish this. So, aside from that, we can look at old Isley Brother album covers.
Okay.
These guys are in like sheer spandex bodysuits with their
I got
chest
older
out.
brothers. I got older brothers, right? My father, God rest his soul, no man in my family, my elders never dressed like that.
I'm just saying though, it existed and it was accepted.
Okay, but back to your initial point.
So my point is, for Felicia to make a statement about how women dress now, we've graduated into another phase in life
Okay.
where, like, it's like guys sagging their pants, right? You know, I don't
You
care.
never sagged, though, did you?
I never sagged. It's
Right,
just
neither
not.
did
I
I.
don't like the way it feels. It doesn't feel good. You know, it's kind of uncomfortable.
Right.
But I don't knock people for sagging their pants. I mean, they have drawers on. You know
Are
what I'm
you
saying?
hanging out with a guy who wears spandex and high heels right now?
Like no.
But you would hang
Thank you.
around with Prince though if you could.
That's Prince, though. That's acceptable.
Right. There's no exception to the rule if majority rules.
But you just said the majority of black men didn't walk around with heels and spandex
bro,
pants on, bro.
Guys, 70s, yo, yes.
1800s, you can't count that because we were slaves.
No. See, that's a whole nother can. Like, we're not even getting into that. slave
Okay, we
thing.
ain't got. But I'm just saying we didn't have
What I'm
a
saying.
dress code. or
What I'm
whatever
saying
back then.
is, things change. Times change.
Okay.